Hi everyone. Many of us are fortunate enough to grow up next to a neighborhood park or garden. For me, parks are a reminder of family picnics, playing games, barbecues, and of flying kites. And as I've gotten older, and perhaps cuter, I recall these memories with great fondness. And therefore I am happy indeed to be able to present to you a collection of parks and gardens created by the Aga Khan Trust for Culture in places far away, such as Kabul in Afghanistan, which is recovering from many decades of war, Cairo in Egypt, which has a crumbling infrastructure and a population of over 20 million people, and Delhi in India, one of the most polluted cities in the world. These historic cities are witnessing remarkable transformations. Let's go see them together. Today, there are nearly 8 billion people in the world. This is expected to increase to 8.5 billion by 2030. In past decades, there has been a great migration from rural areas to urban centers. By 2030, 60% of the world's population will live in cities. This population growth is responsible for environmental degradation. This means the deterioration of the environment through depletion of resources such as air, water, and soil, the destruction of ecosystems, natural habitat destruction, and the extinction of wildlife. Already under strain, communities are facing serious challenges, including poverty, inadequate housing and shelter, poor sewage systems, lack of clean water, and disappearing green space. Population growth and urbanization are also contributing factors to greenhouse gas emissions, which are driving global warming. We are already witnessing rising sea levels, longer and more intense heat waves, wildfires, and droughts. At the same time, whether through war, external forces, or neglect, the past is disappearing, and with it a connection to our history, a narrative of where we come from, where we belong, and ultimately, where we might go as societies and as people. Through the creation and restoration of parks and gardens, the Aga Khan Trust for Culture considered how green spaces could be a means to improve people's quality of life and restore a sense of identity and hope. In Cairo, one of the densest cities on the planet, the Trust transformed a 500-year-old rubble dump into a beautiful park. The park offers a new vantage point with spectacular views of historic Cairo's countless architectural treasures. Besides providing a clean and safe place for recreation, leisure, and reflection, the park has been a catalyst for the restoration of historic monuments and rehabilitation of the Darb al-Ahmar neighborhood, one of the poorest districts in Cairo. In Kabul, Afghanistan, following decades of war, hope emerged in 2002 when the Trust undertook the restoration of the 16th century Babur's Garden. The garden and historic buildings within its walls were destroyed during decades of fighting. The restoration reestablishes the historic character of the site with its water channels, planted terraces, and pavilions. In 2008, the restored Babur's Garden was returned to the people of Kabul, a place for all families to enjoy, to share, and a symbol of what peace can bring. Also in Kabul, the restoration of Timur Shah's mausoleum kept the monument from crumbling and included the removal of illegal structures and debris around the tomb and its walls, thereby transforming the land into a green landscape public space. Chihil Satun Palace and Garden was once a degraded and dilapidated space. Following its restoration and the addition of new facilities, the garden is now the largest and most popular park in Kabul. In Delhi, India, the Trust was responsible for the restoration of the 16th century Humayun's tomb and garden. The grandeur of the tomb, the water channels, trees, and the pathways all speak about the glory and accomplishments of the Mughal Empire. In Sundar Nursery, next to Humayun's tomb, a dilapidated and rundown green space was transformed into an urban oasis. Through environmental upgrading and the conservation of Mughal monuments, the park shines a light on heritage and nature. The creation of parks and gardens has the power to improve urban environments, create employment and economic activity, and revive arts and crafts and cultural development in places where it is in danger of disappearing. Gardens, at their core, are systems of culture, nature, and society. They act to define the shape and feel of a city and its neighborhoods, and can also function as tools for revitalization. In Cairo, Kabul, and Delhi, the rehabilitation of existing parks and gardens and the creation of new parks have helped revive cultural heritage, historic memory, and identity. These parks demonstrate that under the correct conditions, they can provide a dignified environment for people to play, reflect, and give hope to societies struggling with serious challenges. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope that one day you'll be able to visit one of these parks and gardens.